Yes, sir.
What's going on, guys? This is always a fun topic to bring up. 45 versus 9mm. Which one's better? So the correct question is, which one's better for you when you're choosing to decide which one to carry? Both calibers are awesome at the jobs they do. They just do them differently. So depending upon where you place your value scale on different aspects of self-defense is going to depend on which one you end up with on your hip. People usually ask me like which one I think is better and which one I carry, and I decided to do some tests to demonstrate why I feel the way I feel and carry the way I carry based on my own preferences. So I thought this video might be fun to show you guys. I did some range footage. Generally speaking, when you're talking about 45 versus 9mm, there's going to be a few of the most important aspects that will sway you one way or the other. So there's going to be the three big ones, which is recoil, follow-up shots. There's going to be bullet energy and destructive capability of the round. And then there's capacity. First, let's visit a clip of a comparison of follow-up shots and recoil management. In both clips, I am using guns that are very comparable to each other, and as you can see sitting in front of you right here, these are the 4 different rounds I used for comparison. They are the rounds that I carry and my personal preference between traditional rounds and a newer style fragmenting round by Liberty Ammunition. As far as traditional 45 goes, you'll see that it says 45 Super on the box. In case you guys are not aware, 45 Super is pretty much just 45 ACP plus P plus. It is dimensionally the exact same, it's just loaded very hot. It'll work in any 45 ACP gun that shoots your regular rounds. But as a cautionary note, if you are carrying a small 45 ACP or perhaps a gun that's not even rated for plus P ammunition, you're definitely not going to want to shoot 45 Super in it because it certainly packs a punch. So this is a general demonstration of my own capability and the differences between the two rounds and the two guns that I chose. So, here we go, let's roll those in.
Keep recording?
Now you can zoom in on that. Yeah, just walk right in. And just stop there. That's good. Alright guys, so those shots were taken with these two beautiful firearms right in front of us. And they were at 10 yards with both the HK45 Compact and the CZ-P10C. I drew from an appendix carry position and put 5 to 6 shots on target. Apparently I only have 5 shots in the CZ and 6 shots in the HK45, but that is neither here nor there. So the HK45 grouping ended up being 2.5 inches and the CZ-P10C ended up being 3 inches. So at 10 yards, that's not that bad. Those are pretty much headshots, definitely center mass shots. That entire target is, I believe, a 12 by 12. You can see the groupings were pretty well centered. You know, they were kind of scattered around the middle. And I am by no means a competition shooter or expert marksman, as you can see, but I just figured it would be a pretty cool general demonstration of how fast you can shoot these rounds and get decent accuracy. So, if that was a self-defense situation, I would have been happy with that. which one you thought was faster, and if you think it made a difference, well, I'll have you guys be the judge of that. And next, we are going to go do a bullet energy / destructive capability test. So we are going to do the good old watermelon test, and we are going to compare the fragmenting round with the traditional rounds. I carry both, like I said, the traditional and the fragmenting. Generally, I prefer the fragmenting because I think that having the bullet not go through what you shot at is very important. As well as when I speak to medical professionals, both EMTs and ER doctors who have experience with gun wounds, I have pretty much a general consensus with everyone I've asked that the civil defense will be more destructive and will generally benefit the civilian concealed carrier more. Obviously, this isn't a video comparing the two types of rounds, but it is a side note and it is involved in the testing, as you'll see in the next footage of the watermelon test. So let's jump to that and we'll see how those perform. Alright guys, we are here comparing the 9mm and 45 ACP. Finally down to the watermelon test. We are using a CZ P10C and we are using a HK45 compact. Now as you can see, the barrel lengths are going to be very similar on these two guns. The only real difference is going to be the actual cartridge used. So I tried to minimize how much difference we could have, so I didn't use like my full-size 845 and etc. Tried to use compact guns that you would carry every day. I tried to set them up the same way you would carry them every day. And right now we're going to go with the HK45 first, and we are going to hit the watermelons. One of them we're going to try to catch the bullet and see what it looks like afterward, and the other time we are just going to see the effect of the round on the watermelon itself. The first round that we are shooting is going to be Underwood's ammo, and it is a 230 grain round going 1100 feet per second. This is a very hot round. This is what I carry for self-defense if I'm going to carry a traditional round. The other round that I carry very often, and I tend to like more than the traditional rounds, is this, the Liberty Ammunition's Civil Defense. And this is a 78 grain projectile going 1900 feet per second. And it does fragment on impact, and you'll see what it can do to a watermelon. Now we're going to shoot that now, and then we'll cut over to the 9mm after that. Right now we're using the HK45 TLR7. If you're curious how to use this light on this gun, I have a video on that. And we're ready to rock. First is the Underwood, and we're going to try to hit the watermelon and catch it in the back, and we're going to try to look at that later on. So now I'm going to kneel so that I'm level with the target. And now we're going to shoot the Civil Defense, 78 grain, 1900 feet per second. So as you can see, they had pretty different outcomes. Watermelon on the right, pretty gone. Watermelon on the left, some decent damage. Let's go take a look and see if we can get the round. Alright guys, we have found our bullet with our bullet stop. It went through about 4, 5, 6. It went through about 8 layers of this bath towel, just a regular bath sheet from Walmart, $7. Simple. Here is our round, and this is a 1100 feet per second projectile, 230 grain. And look at this expansion, guys. This is beautiful expansion. Huge round. Perfect. Good job, Underwood, huh? So that's what we're looking at right now. And let's go over to the 9mm and see if we can replicate these results with a completely different round. Alright guys, that was pretty cool. Very impressive with the 45 ACP. Great expansion on that round. The right one totally blew up by Civil Defense. And then the left one, like I said, awesome expansion, decent penetration with those 8 to 9 layers of towel. So now we have civil defense, 9mm, which is a 50 grain projectile, and it's going 2,000 feet per second, so 100 feet per second faster. It's a little bit lighter. We're going to see that compared to the Barnes tac-xp, I believe it's called. It's a plus P, a 9mm ammunition. I don't have the actual box with me, but it is my favorite 9mm traditional round. And then, like I said, I love that civil defense non-traditional fragmenting round. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see the Barnes first, and we're going to see how that works out with the bullet stop, and then we're going to do the civil defense after that. Alright guys, now we're going to do the civil defense. And there we go. As you can see, as before, the civil defense really causes some pressure changes in whatever target it hits. And that's one of the main advantages of this round, is that it's going to go in, it's going to fragment, it's going to explode a little bit, cause a very high pressure change. So if it hits fat, it's going to get really big expansion as far as how far the stars go and how much tissue it can disrupt. If it hits something like muscle or bone, it's going to end up cracking something. It's going to end up really jarring that tissue. We're going to go check out these rounds, see if we can find the 9mm and see how it expanded. All right, guys. We have the Barnes tac, one of my favorite plus P 9mm rounds. It's, I forget the exact feet per second, but it has awesome expansion, and it didn't let us down this time either. It actually got caught by the very first layer of bath towel. It didn't even go in. It was just sitting right on top of it. It kind of marred up the first bath towel, but other than that, it didn't even go through. It did a decent job carving its way through our watermelon, but the bottom is still where it is, and I think the top is sitting right over there. The rest is the carnage caused by the civil defense. So let's take a look at this round. Look at that. We have a nice, pretty round. If you like your hollow points to come out pretty, this is a really fantastic round, if that matters to you. Perfect expansion, and it gets pretty big. So that's the kind of results you can expect from Barnes. It's really, really sweet bullet. Well, that certainly never gets old, does it? Always fun to shoot some watermelons. We're going to take a look at the recovered rounds. I think this is one of the most interesting things, and my high-tech bath towel bullet catch actually worked pretty well. So let's take a look at the 45 ACP first. We're going to check out how big this thing got at its widest point. And let me put these calipers on here. Pretty useful tool going on. Alright, so at its widest point, it is 0.776 inches, as you can see right there. And it had beautiful expansion, and the bullet stayed totally intact, just folded over. I did not weigh it, but it doesn't look like it lost any of its mass. It all is still connected and attached. This is the Hornady XTP hollow point that Underwood uses, so great performance out of that, especially out of such a strong round, the 45 Super. Now let's check out the 9. At its widest point, .65. Let's see if maybe one of the other stars, the other star combinations, maybe we can get a bigger 6.2, 6.5. Let's try this one. Okay, so this one, this star, we got a 6.67 inches. So That is 0.667 inches. Now, what that ends up equating to is the other one was 0.77 and this one is 0.66. It ends up being about 18 to 20% larger. Now that is pretty standard across all well-expanding 45 hollow points in the traditional format, and in the civil defense it ends up being 4.5 inch expansion when it fragments the star pattern, and the 9mm ends up being about 3.5 inches. Is that enough to sway you one way or the other? 20% larger expansion is pretty significant, but if something's already dead, does it need to be more dead? Or would that make the difference between it being dead and stopping the threat and you needing to take more shots, or perhaps it gave them the chance to attack you back? So I think that's where everyone draws their line in the sand of whether or not you need that extra punch to make sure that the threat is stopped immediately. We have one final test, and that's going to be an energy comparison. The wood is actually 15 pounds in the video. I do mention that it is about 5, and I was way off. It is actually more like 15 to 18 pounds of wood. So we'll take a look at that and go from there. Alright guys, now that we did the watermelon and I cleaned myself up from some watermelon juice and cleaned up the area over here, so we're going to see if the energy transfer from these rounds, the amount of impact it gives, if it is a noticeable difference. And what I have is I have two 6x6s, and they're both about 3 feet high, and I'm going to try to hit them towards the top, and we're going to see if the impact from the 45 is much different from the impact from the 9, and how much inertia it travels through and affects the wood. So I'm going to try to shoot as accurately as I can and try to get it in the center and somewhere towards the top third of the wood. Alright guys, so let's take a look over here. So as you can see, we did hit the wood, top third, relatively in the center, and it actually came out the back of this 6x6. This ammunition is pretty impressive with the expansion and the amount of power this thing packs. It was able to knock over this 6x6. This thing is pretty heavy. It's probably around 5 pounds. It wasn't able to knock it over and push it back a few inches, as well as go directly through the wood. Alright, we're going to go over to the CZP-10C and see how that thing goes. Alright guys, you can see a little bit less, it kind of like slowly fell over, teetered over. Let's go check it out. Alright, perfect shot, exactly where I was aiming, top third, very similar to the 45, and as you can see, it did get stuck inside the wood someplace. So you guys can decipher these results for yourself. How much is too much, how much is enough, and how much is not enough. Did we hit any of those barriers? Did we not reach some of those barriers when we wanted to? That's kind of what this test was for. I'm taking my own data from this and adjusting my carrier preferences accordingly, with that Underwood ammo throwing out about 620 foot-pounds of energy. That's a lot compared to the 9mm. It's probably only going to be about 380. So we'll go to the tabletop, we'll take a little bit more look at this, and these results are up to you to decipher. See you guys. Well, that was pretty cool, and the wood really slammed down, even though it didn't even absorb all of the energy from that 45 Super round. It actually went through it, obviously dumping more energy, and it still slammed it down and pushed it a few inches. Pretty impressive. Now, do you need that much power, or is that overkill? Maybe that's over-penetration. I did mention before that over-penetration is definitely on my mind. You know, it can go either way. But I'm sure you guys are wondering, which did I choose? Which do I carry the most? And I usually carry 45 ACP. The reason why I carry 45 ACP is that I can fit 20 rounds in my concealed carry package. I also generally carry a backup gun with another 7 rounds in a Smith & Wesson Shield 45. So I end up carrying a total of 27 rounds altogether of 45 ACP, and I severely doubt I'll ever run into a circumstance where I'll need more than 5 to 10, never mind I'll need 20 to 27. So if I do, shit's going down. I like more bang for the buck. I want each round to be as effective as possible. I don't believe that I'll use all 15 rounds in my CZ P10C. I feel I am well equipped as far as capacity is concerned. The size of the guns don't matter to me. I don't mind carrying a very large firearm. Even though the H&K 45 Compact is about the exact same size as a CZ P10C, with the extended elephant foot magazine, it ends up being slightly larger. But in general, it is a very compact and very concealable package. It's going to be getting a red dot on it soon, and I much prefer red dots than standard iron sights. But guys, you are not wrong for carrying 9mm. It is an amazing round, and capacity certainly matters, and 9mm can certainly do the job. I just like to carry what's cool. I mean, that's one of the biggest things about carrying. Carry what you like, what you think is cool. Because chances you're going to use the gun are very small. These are both very capable calibers with very capable firearms of defending your life. So you're not wrong for picking either one. And just carry what makes you happy. Because most of the time, and most likely, that's all it's really going to do. It's just going to be for your own peace of mind and your own enjoyment, and then you're going to have fun with it on the range, have fun with it in training classes like I do. It's a great hobby. It's a great time. Just be prepared and understand the pluses and minuses of carrying both rounds if you ever have to protect yourself. But in the end, carry what makes you happy. It's really not going to matter all that much. Pistol calibers, as an entirety, are not crazy efficient. That being said, 45 Super is pretty wild. Just to give you an example of what 45 Super is like, it's pretty much like a large full power 10mm round. This Barnes tac-xp is 115 grains, and it goes 1100 feet per second, and I was a little bit off when I mentioned it in the video. It's actually 309 foot-pounds. I was thinking of the Golden Saber Plus P rounds, 124 grain. Those are 380. This Underwood 45 Super, which will work in any of your Plus P rated firearms, is going to be 230 grains, 1100 feet per second, 618 foot-pounds of energy. As you saw when it entered that watermelon and it went through that 6x6 15-pound piece of wood. So it's packing a punch, guys. It's literally double the energy of the Barnes tac, and it's almost double the energy of even the strongest, hottest, normally used 9mm. So I mean, it's really cooking. So if you feel that you need some extra power, I mean, expanding up to 0.77 inches and having that much energy, yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So there you go, guys. I hope this video helped. I hope it was entertaining. Have a good night. See ya.